PSU stocks, Suyash, are in focus today?
Certainly, Shweta. PSU stocks have been in focus, but PSU Insurance stocks are the one that were, stealing all the limelight in today's lackluster session. I was tracking the movement, the price movement across the session, and the kind of returns we saw today. LIC was up almost 10%. GIC, the General Insurance Corporation of India, was up about 15.45%. At day's high, it went up as much as 19%. National India Assurance, whereas ended in the upper circuit, it was up almost 20% in today's trade. And the phenomenal returns we have seen in the past 15 days, whereas all three stocks have given returns of about 35% to 50% in just a matter of 8 to 9 sessions. And Shweta, I was trying to find a reason for this rally, and there is no fundamental reason as such, but from what I can understand, there are some ancillary factors that are working in favor of these stocks. First of all, it's a low float. So let's start with National India Assurance first. National India Assurance, about 86% of the entire stake of the company is with the government. 9% is held by LIC, and about 1% is with GIC Re. So the remaining, what's left for public is just about 5%. So there is a lot of, very little float that's available in the market, and because of that, perhaps heavy buying or selling activity is going on, and by a few traders. That's why we are seeing such big movements. Similarly, in the case of GIC Re, also 86% or so is held about by the government. LIC also holds about 9% stake, and again 5% stake is just in the public float. For LIC, 96.5% of the entire stake of LIC is still held by the government of India, whereas only 3.5% is in the public float. Another factor, Shweta, is that the kind of rally that we have seen in PSU stocks, some of them have turned multi-baggers this year, but not PSU Insurance stocks. They are, trading at a relatively lower valuation compared to other PSU stocks. I'm looking at some of them. LIC, for example, is just at 1.6 times its price to embedded value. National India Assurance is at about 1.6 times its price to book, and GIC Re is at about 1.5 times its price to book. And despite this rally, sir, I want to take this question to you. All three stocks are still significantly below their IPO price. For National India Assurance, the adjusted IPO price was about 400 rupees. It's currently at around 209 or so. So, about half of the IPO price. For GIC, the IPO price was 456 rupees. The stock closed about, 30% shy of that IPO price. LIC is also pretty much around 25-28% lower than the IPO price. Do you expect that perhaps, the rally will continue? And what do you make of the kind of movements that we saw in, PSU Insurance stocks today? Avinash, sir.
I think my guess is Suyash. Yeah. So coming back to the insurance stocks, Suyash, I think there's been a lot of accumulation in these stocks, for the last few weeks, and I think this is on the back of some strong numbers which are expected, from the third and the fourth quarter numbers, especially in terms of business growth. So I think which have also moved up include, companies like Max Healthcare, ICICI Pru, SBI Live. So I think markets are getting a hint that possibly numbers are going to be much stronger than expectations. The fourth quarter typically is a very strong bumper quarter for all these insurance companies. And I think coming specifically on GICRE and NISCL, these are stocks which have moved up very sharply in the last 8 to 10 days. So I think there seems to be some fundamental reason by which such kind of sporadic buying has come in. We need to obviously watch whether this is sustainable. But I think overall this space is getting interesting because most of the negatives are now passed behind. Post-COVID, business growth has been very strong. And our sense is that if numbers, especially then you could see a further re-rating, in these counters in the very near term.